Welcome to another episode of the Plutus Awards Podcast. Our community is filled with hundreds of stories from creators and entrepreneurs just like you. And through this show, we share these stories of challenges and successes, from bloggers to podcasters to writers, speakers, and more. Today's guest is Danielle Desir. She's the founder of the Thought Card, an affordable travel and personal finance blog and podcast. The co-producer of Millennial Wealth Builder, a 3-time grant-funded audio docuseries, and the founder and CEO of Women of Color Podcasters. We talk about how she monetized an inkling of an idea when she formed the free Facebook group for Women of Color Podcasters, how she priced her membership community, mindset challenges, and how member success stories fueled her passion to help other podcasters. Danielle, welcome to the Plutus Awards Podcast. Very excited to have you on today.
Wow, I'm excited. I've listened to you guys for a while now, so this is truly an honor. Thank you so much again for having me.
I'm really excited to get a bit of a sneak peek behind your membership community. Can you describe what it is and what led to you wanting to start it?
All right. So do you have a minute? Because it's a long story. But WC Podcasters is now currently a membership and a community. We also have a podcasting blog and we run several directories, including a job board. So it's evolved over the last 3 years to a lot of different things. But we first started as a Facebook group. Back in 2018, Spotify had released a Sound Up Bootcamp opportunity, and they're actually run it every single year since then. And they were looking for women of color podcasters who just simply had an idea. So you had an idea to start a podcast, you're a woman of color, and they would pretty much fly you out to New York City, offer you a week of funding and training. Funding was an opportunity, and pretty much that was the opportunity. So I applied. I had an idea for a podcast. However, I just wasn't ready to get started. And I thought through how many women of color podcasters are there truly? When I would look at the top 100 Apple podcast list, I really didn't see that many women of color who looked like me. So I didn't really think that it would be super competitive. So I honestly thought that I was going to win. Now, the day that they were supposed to announce the winners, we did not hear anything, but I had connected with so many women on Twitter, hundreds, maybe hundreds of thousands, just so many women. I said, you know what? I want to be able to connect with everyone. So I created a Twitter list, but unfortunately the Twitter list just isn't a great way to build community that way. So I created a Facebook group. So we started May 1st while we were waiting for Spotify to release the 10 winners. What was awesome about it is that all of us, we were aspiring podcasters. Since we all had applied for this one opportunity, we all just had an idea and we were all kind of fumbling around in the dark. But by the time a week had flown by, Spotify had said that there were 18,000 applications for this opportunity, and they needed more time to really shift through and pick the winners. So for me, 18,000 just really displays just how much interest women of color have in podcasting and how so many women were left unserved because only 10 were selected out of the 18,000. So that was truly the inspiration for starting the Facebook group. It just happened by chance. And it's truly that Facebook group that helped me to even start my own podcast, the Thought Card Podcast. Over time, over the last 3 years, we've just built the brand up to have more spaces like the blog. We now have officially closed down the Facebook group. So we no longer have a free Facebook group, but we do have a paid community as well as a paid membership.
Okay, so obviously it didn't just go from a free Facebook group to the paid community overnight. Right? I mean,
no, it was a long process.
Yeah, I was like, as much as we'd all like to just snap our fingers and have that happen. So how did you gauge interest in a free Facebook group to turn into a paid offering? Because I ask this because in my experience, talking to other people, there's a lot of interest when it's free, but then it can, I'd say, lack of a better term, die down when it becomes a paid offering. So how did you, funnel interest to an initial paid offering?
What I did is I launched a membership first. When I launched a membership, I thought through what are the things that if I could, I would offer in the free Facebook group, but I can't because I don't have any funding. So that was about 2 years into our community. I was desperately looking for funding, burnt out. I had a team of admins who I couldn't compensate, not even $1. I said, you know what? I'm going to try this membership model. And I identified the areas that I thought that were missing from the free Facebook group. Number one, accountability. When you have a group of thousands of people, yes, there's a lot of activity going on in there, but if a lot of people still feel lonely in their podcasting journey because it's truly just them and maybe their small team. So I wanted to build in accountability into the membership where we could meet on a monthly basis, touch base, where I can know my members and offer insights as more like a mid-level, more experienced podcaster at this point. So that was number one. The second identity, like I definitely realized that, okay, this is missing from the free Facebook group is trainings and ability to tap the shoulders of experts. That is something that you need funding for. There comes a point where you want a speaker to come speak at your event, but if you don't pay them, they're not interested. And that's exactly the kind of people we wanted. We want people who are experts and who can share knowledge, and we needed funding to actually get them to come and present. So that was definitely the second thing I wanted to be able to provide in the membership. And lastly, just an archive of resources, an archive of our replays. I was just tired of Googling every single thing when it came to podcasting. And I truly just wanted to build one of the best resources out there for community members who could go from YouTube to blogging to show notes to guest appearances, anything you wanted. Instead of Googling it first, you would say, hey, let me see if WC Podcasters has a full in-depth hour-long training about this first. So those are some of the things that I thought through. So my advice is for anyone who is wanting to, who wants to start a membership, is to think about, okay, what are the gaps that I can fill that I know for a fact that other people are going to want, including yourself? Like, these are all things that I wanted. And just so happens a lot of other people wanted those things as well.
Hi, Plutus friends, it's Sherry Ann here, and we are so excited for our Plutus Impact Summit happening this Friday and Saturday. The event is virtual and free. We have great speakers and panelists that will help you better impact your business and your community. Not only is the event free, but you also will have a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card by finding the answer to our podcast hunt question. The question is, which Plutus Foundation team member has a course that teaches new and intermediate bloggers how to produce the best content on the internet? To submit your answer, follow the link in our show notes and complete the instructions. We will announce the winner at the Plutus Impact Summit, and we look forward to seeing you there.
How did you figure out pricing that would be sustainable and, eventually profitable?
I was so nervous to actually offer this paid membership. I decided that I would start small and then work my way up over time. I said, you know what would be the minimal amount of money that I can ask per person that they won't super object to, and also test it out. Like, if I fail, I am not disappointing too many people, including myself. So I came to the dollar amount of $15 per month. Now, a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, that's like nothing, like it doesn't make any sense. But that's what I felt comfortable with charging, because I just needed to get started and I needed to rip the band-aid of free Facebook group to a paid offer. And I felt that 15 was a really good jumping off point. However, what I think that was really good, is that after about a month or two, I decided, after, of course, also seeing the success of the membership, I said, you know what? This is the founding members rate at $15. I'll never increase the rate if you sign on now. A lot of people decided to sign on at that rate. And that was that. And that was great. Over time, I did increase the price, and now it's going to be, we're at $37, but we're going to be at $47 by our launch in June.
That is amazing. So, of course, marketing and all that on top of pricing, many business owners get very nervous. So, what were some of the feelings that you were having as I'm assuming you were marketing this in your free Facebook group?
I was just so nervous. I really felt so defeated because I had tried everything to monetize the Facebook group. I had tried Patreon. I had tried accountability calls, just pay a couple dollars to come in. I had tried workshops. I literally tried digital products. I tried everything. And I decided I was going to do the membership model, and I put a lot of work into it. And the week before I was about to launch, I was about to quit because I had these negative thoughts that was like, well, no one bought your other products, so why would they say yes to this? And this is a recurring expense. They're definitely not going to want to do this, which was so wrong. And I'm so happy that I actually pushed through. But a lot of self-doubt, a lot of fear, and putting myself out there in a way where I'm asking for the sale is very different. Because before I was just like going up here in the group and sharing and offering value and see you all next week, everyone. But now it's like, no, if you want the entire training, you're going to have to join the membership, and it's valuable. And there's a reason why that you're paying this $15, and it's even cheaper. Like it's way more valuable than what you're paying. So it just took some time for me to really step into the shoes of being a membership owner and being okay with asking for what I deserve.
Walk me through the first post that you made in that Facebook group talking about your paid offering. Like, what were some of the verbiage and the response to that?
This is a hard one because I don't remember off the top of my head. But for me, I've always been really good at speaking from the heart in the moment. A lot of people say, create this, spend time on it and then pre-schedule it and watch the sales come in passively. And that's okay. But I also know myself really well. And I think that people resonate with when I'm raw and vulnerable and in the moment. So for me, I enjoy crafting messages. Even all my emails I send to my community now, they're all live in the moment. And some of the verbiages I really try to explain, like why the membership was being offered, why it's important, some of the pain points that we all are experiencing, and what they can expect when they do join. So what's already inside. I had done trainings. I wanted to make sure that there was a gallery that they could browse through. So as soon as they said yes, that they felt like this was a good investment. Even I haven't even done anything, but just looking at all the resources is way more than the Facebook group had to offer. And let me just tell you, one of the key selling points is being organized, because when you're in a Facebook group, there's just hundreds. It's just a forum, right? There's like hundreds of posts happening. It's really hard to find things, even with the search function. So being able to just say, listen, I've spent hours combing through this Facebook group, pulling all the resources together for you in a condensed, concise version. There's resources, there's lists. I even would do like little videos of what the membership looked like inside. So those are some of the things that I did to really pull those first people in. I do think that a lot of my first members were my quote unquote super fans. They were people who enjoyed all the things that I was doing for free for like years, that when I said, you know what, this is the offer I'm willing to put out on the table, they were finally willing to actually take that olive branch and say, okay, let's give this a try.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so you've got members trickling in, right? So you're like, yes, I'm so glad I pushed through. At this point, did you consider how you were going to gain new members and how you would make sure to replace anybody that was leaving?
Yes. So I am always thinking about that. However, I'm also aware that because the way the nature of podcasts, though, and podcasters, how we are, there's a number of reasons why someone will drop off. It's not always a reflection of the quality of your work. When the pandemic hit, I saw a dip, and that made sense. Everyone is like trying to cut costs. And a lot of the members actually who reach out and they're deciding to leave tell me that. They actually message me and they say, hey, Danielle, like, I love what you're doing. I love the membership. I've done a lot of what you suggested and had in the resource, but I just need to cut costs, which to me shows so much respect, right? Like, they don't have to email me. They could just cancel, but they email me with an explanation, which I think is so sweet. It could be that life is just happening and they're no longer able to sustain this cost. Or it could be that they faded out. Pod fade, which is when you pretty much stop recording and you stop releasing episodes, is very common. They say that there's a high percentage of podcasters who don't record past 7 episodes. So even the most ambitious podcasters will, if they're not recording, it's just not going to make sense for them to continue on with us, right? So these are some of the things that I had to really dissociate people leaving my membership as it's not bad on me. It's not necessarily like, now my membership is not horrible or bad, is that there's a lot of other circumstances at play. And what you can also do is do like an exit survey. You could set up a nurture sequence where maybe a month or 2 after the person has left the membership, where you could ask them questions or, hop on a phone call and see what you could have improved on. So there's a lot of things that you can do to retain or even encourage folks to come back. There are members that have left, and then a couple months later, when we open the doors up again, they're like, hey, I want to come back in. So I just see it as a revolving door. But the one thing I wanted to say before we move on is also that I offer an annual plan as well. And I offer the annual plan at a discount than if they would pay, monthly. And that's an incentive. That's an incentive for them to stay and commit to being together for a year. Like, if you commit to a year, we're going to be able to work together and definitely see so much more results. So I like offering both offers, a monthly offer as well as an annual offer for those who are willing to save and also commit for a longer period of time.
What are some specific questions that you have in that exit survey?
Some of the questions are, are you still podcasting? Is there anything that we could have done to, have you continue to stay as a member with us? Is there anything that's a turnoff or anything that you dislike or that you would want us to see improved? I also ask them what's their favorite session. Like, what's the favorite session that you attended live or the replay, to also see what's resonating with them as well.
So the survey, are all of them required questions, or are they required to answer all of them?
No, it says, for me at least, I just leave it as like, if you want to, it's just open. This is if they want to. It's not a requirement.
And or I'm assuming your automated sequence sends out, what would you say like the percentage of people that respond are?
I would say about 40% of the people respond. But what's funny is that I offer way more than just the paid products. So there may be, let's say, a Facebook Live that I'm in, or not like Facebook Live, but an Instagram Live that I'm doing maybe a month or 2 later down the road, and they end up popping on the live. I can just tap them and say, hey, like, I remember you were in the membership. How are things going? I really do like having an ecosystem that even goes beyond my paid products. Even having like an email list that you're emailing folks on a regular basis that's not always selling them is a great way to connect with them, because they may just reach out to you and say, hey, when's the membership opening up again? Or is there anything new that's happening? So just having open communication with folks who are about to join a membership and also people who have left as well is important.
Right. So it sounds like you're just making sure you're leaving the channels of communication open, no matter if they've left or even if there's still members in your community.
Exactly. And I also think that your strategies are going to really depend on what your goal is. I see myself as a boutique membership. So think about like a boutique hotel, right? It's not like a huge Marriott or Hilton with hundreds of rooms, right? So I consider myself as a boutique membership owner where I'm usually trying to go between 150 to 200 members. And that for me feels really, really good, because I'm very live and in the moment with them. So all of the guest appearances and guest speakers we have, I'm there. all of the accountability calls I have with all of my members, there's 3 every month. I'm there 3 every month. So having a membership of thousands of people, it would be really hard to scale. However, a couple hundred I found is like the sweet spot between revenue and also being able to truly serve my audience.
And how did you come up with that sweet spot?
Oh, through trial and error.
Okay.
It's also by like just seeing over time, like when you put a lot of energy to growing and seeing, okay, like I'm at 200. That was my peak. I'm at 150, 175, 200. I just feel like there's no reason why I need to be chasing hundreds of thousands of people to join the membership. Again, that's just not my goal. For me, a main reason why I actually changed my membership from open all the time to cohort based and it's closed enrollment. We only have certain enrollment periods is because I wanted to know my members. I wanted to be able to say, hey, you went to Panama last week. How was that? Or last month? How was that? And realistically, it's hard to do unless you have a big team, which I don't. So for me, having a couple hundred people and knowing that I'm transforming and helping them on their podcasting journey means so much more than having thousands. But I can definitely see the allure of wanting, like, if I was trying to compare my Facebook group to my membership, I'd be very upset because my Facebook group had 4,000 people and my membership has 200. So I would feel like a failure, but I don't. I feel like these 200 people who are with me, they're getting everything of me. They're getting the best of everything. And I feel so much better about that. So it just takes time to know what feels good for you and what your goals are.
So at this stage, you found your sweet spot. It sounds like it's financially sustainable. What do you feel are some sort of maybe sticky points or challenges you're still working through in this membership community?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges is sustainability. I find that the things that I want to do, like I want to have more guest speakers on, and of course I'm paying all my guest speakers. I want to offer more services and more, but there is a budget. That there's things to think about, right? So sustainability is something that I'm definitely thinking about, and also hiring help and saying, okay, this time next year, do I want to be able to serve even more people? That's going to require outsourcing. And I'm always constantly trying to improve. So one of the improvements that I did, because I've noticed that like it could be challenging to know where some of the resources are, is we created a video directory. So we have a PDF now where you could see all the videos and the hundreds of videos we have in the membership. So just every time I can, just looking for small ways that I can improve and also thinking about the big picture. Because I'm definitely running up against, I think it might be time to hire another coach or hire someone else to help so that we can be able to serve better.
Where do you see this membership community in the next 5 years or so?
Wow, I don't think I've thought that far. I think in the next 5 years, I would definitely think more of academy style and offering more built courses that is like WC podcasters courses that you could go through different modules. Because right now we're offering a lot of our expert speakers, they come in based off of the needs of our members, which ultimately helps everyone. But I think over time, we definitely want to build up just some of even the basic things like how to start a podcast, how to pick the right equipment, certain things like these foundational things that people can do self-paced on their own. So I think offering more courses and also even offering more academy style beyond the membership as well.
So I know that this isn't your main gig. Do you hope that this will be for you in the future?
Great question. It definitely feels like a main gig, and definitely for sure. I definitely think that it can be one of the main gigs that I have. I'm really excited and I'm really passionate. It's so funny again because it's something I stumbled into. That would be truly, truly amazing for it to be one of the businesses that I really get to focus in on.
And so throughout our entire conversation so far, it sounds like you want to get to know your members on a very personal level. You sound like you care very deeply about their success. Tell me about one success story of your members that really sticks in your mind.
Oh, this just happened yesterday. I'm ready to share. Okay, so one of the things I really, really enjoy doing for myself and also for my members is finding grant opportunities. So whenever I find a grant opportunity, I share it with them. And these are small business grants. What's important is that a lot of my community members, they never thought of themselves as business owners before. But I actually won 3 grants for my podcast. I'm like, we are small business owners. So whenever I do see a small business grant, I send it their way. And I definitely feel that now I see the confidence that they're like applying for it, applying for whatever I send them. They even share ones that they found on their own. So again, that perspective shift is so huge. So yesterday, one of my members reached out and tagged us in a post where she won a $10,000 grant yesterday. It was from an opportunity that I had shared in the community, and I had specifically tagged her. And I said, hey, this has your name all over it. And she screenshotted it that day. And yesterday, she shared the news and posted the screenshot and said, Danielle, remember when you tagged me and you told me that I need to apply for this $10,000 grant? Well, guess what? I won this, and this is going to change my business. That like gives me goosebumps. It's like, I know my members so personally where I can say, this is for you. Like, go after it and do that. If I had a membership of 1,000 people, I don't think that I would have. And based off my Facebook group experience, I definitely didn't have. Like, I still only knew like a handful of people intimately. That to me is what I'm here to do. I'm here to connect my community to resources. I'm here to change perspectives. I'm here to be a cheerleader. I'm here to be a coach. I'm here to ask the tough questions and help them get results. So that was a huge win. I felt like I won the 10K. I'm really excited for her.
That's amazing. I love that story. That's so great. Well, Danielle, if people want to check out your podcast and your community, where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can connect with me over at the Thought Card Podcast. I have an affordable travel and personal finance podcast. And for the community, if you're a podcaster or you're an aspiring podcaster, check out wcpodcasters.co. That is our website. You'll find hundreds of blogs there. You'll find also our community as well as our membership. So there's tons of resources. And we're also on Instagram at WC Podcasters. And personally, I'm at the Danielle Desir on Instagram.
Great. Thank you. We'll have all those links in the show notes. And again, Danielle, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks again.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's take a look at some lessons we can learn from my conversation with Danielle. Lesson number 1, to focus on getting feedback consistently. For Danielle, she did that through her free Facebook group before she launched her paid membership community. And so for you, it could be through Instagram, it could be through email. The point is to get as much engagement as possible, to ask lots of questions, and to allow your audience members to let you know what they think. And you can use that to help you create products and services for them. Lesson number 2 is you don't need to market everywhere, just in enough places. So for Danielle, she didn't go to all the places, right? Email, all the social media profiles everywhere. She really focused on her Facebook community to try to convert free members into paid members. And if you're working on your own, to market everywhere can feel really, really exhausting unless you have a lot of help. So take a look at where your audience is and then market very heavily in those places, because you'll find that it might be more effective than trying to be everywhere. Lesson number 3 is to be obsessed with your customers' success. So for Danielle, I'm sure you could hear the excitement and the passion in her voice when she was talking about a membership success story. So for you to be obsessed with your customer success is really going to be the main driver of your business. If you show that you care and you want your products or services to help them succeed, they're going to be even more motivated to put in the work and see results for themselves. After all, you're in business because you want to help other people. You're there to solve a problem. So showing that you're obsessed with their success is really going to prove it to them. Thank you so much for listening to the Plutus Awards Podcast. If you're interested in collaborating with other financial bloggers, podcasters, influencers, and more to chat about your work, interests, ask and answer questions, come join our Facebook community. Search for Plutus Community in the search bar or head to facebook.com/groups/Plutus Community. We hope to see you there and get a chance to support you and your amazing work.